So it's 6:33 on the 3rd. And that's 3333333. I always love the number things. Anyways, I don't have any idea what I'm going to be talking about. So, I know last night when I had to let them out, it was so freaking foggy. And you can't see it. It's supposed to be this big moon. You cannot see anything. It is so overcast here. Yesterday there was no sun. There hasn't been any sun for a couple days. No moon. We're just stuck here in the overcast, foggy, dark. It's so, I think without the sun, it starts just feeling depressing. And I am having so many aches. Oh my God. And last night, this was so weird. Because I've been having these weird dreams where I keep going and keep being in this same dream. But last night it was really weird. And I was in the same dream all night. It didn't matter if I woke up, I went right back to the same dream. And these same people. And it was like this dream of I was with all these girls, these women. Not a ton. I think there was like four or five or something. Maybe just four. I don't remember. And we were on like, I don't know, like an adventure or something. Like we were going somewhere to do something. And then it was so detailed. It was so detailed in this dream. I mean, that's how it kind of lasts all night. It's like, I remember this one part, we're going to like someplace up there. We're walking past like this flea market or something. One of the girls suddenly runs over to a little stand, pulls out this book, and is so excited that she found this book. And it's the second book in this, what is that called? When it's like when it's a few books and it's the same story and the new one came out. It was huge. Oh my God, this book was huge. And she was so excited about this book, and she'd already read this other book, and it was just like the strangest details in this dream. And I was even questioning the dream while I was in the dream. And so I was like, what am I doing here? What am I? And I definitely see that it is like you're going, well, I don't know. I think everybody's experiences are different. But it was like I was going in to, okay, let's say you have a perspective on something. And you look at it a certain way. And then it drops you into a dream. So you don't have to go through a whole lifetime, even though some of these dreams seems like a whole life. But that you go into this dream state so that you can see a different perspective. So it changes your perspective. So it enhances your perspective that you had, and it makes it bigger. Not just like every perspective, when you really think about it, is too narrow. Yeah, narrow creates narrow minds. It's too zoned in on a thought. And that's the thing about the awakening, is it needs to be more broad thinking, bigger thinking. I mean, think about like how many billions of people there are and how many different experiences are happening. To think that you have this one perspective, which we have a lot of perspectives over things, because people have like a perspective or a judgment or whatever over different things that they're not experiencing in this world, but that is due to other lifetimes. And that is like where it becomes like a part of your code or whatever. And so, but when you think about actual perspective, then there's way too many to even center in on, seeing it from 10 different points of view, because there's billions. And so it's not like to change your perspective. It's to add in more perspective. It's like to broaden your view of things. And I don't even know. There was a lot of little details in this dream. There was a lot going on with these people. One of the things is, and I don't know all of the different, so I can't remember it all. But one of the girls, one of the women, because these were all women, one of them was like if she had been broke up, was broke up or something. And I don't know, there seemed to be like a focus on relationships. And then, but she had started a relationship with a woman, but she was trying to keep it secret and hidden. And then I, of course, blurted it out. And then she was very upset. And my communication, it was about people feeling so judged. And so people hide who they are so much because they feel so judged by everybody. And that sounds like kind of, like surfacey, but when you really go more depth into the feelings of feeling judged by everybody, it is a more harsher reality. And it is very, something just came into my mind in a conversation I had yesterday with somebody. And they were like, I don't like women. And I was like, you don't like women? It was a woman saying it. She's like, I don't like women. And I said, you don't like women? Do you like men? And she's like, I don't. I like men okay, and which is very strange because so many women right now are against men, and so there's so many women who are I hate men, men suck, and all this stuff. But this one was I don't like women, and I was like, well, why don't you like him? Did something? I can't remember what I said. Did somebody hurt you? Did something happen or something? And I said, because I like all people. Like, I don't be like, there's not like a group where I go like, I don't like that group. But but so they said, they got, and it was a situation. I think it was like if people were gossiping or talking about somebody behind their back as a group or something, and they got very hurt by this group of women. And so then they were holding on to that kind of becomes like a trust issue. Like you can't put your guard down because you put your guard down and then you got hurt. And you trusted these people, which I think so many of us have all gone through this. I think it's not like uncommon, but I think the thing is about it is every single thing that happens in our lives is for us to experience is to get over it. Everything is about getting over it. Nothing is supposed to be holding you back. And so then, it's this process of looking at things in process of gaining more perspective. And who knows, like one thing is like when women are like that, now I'm getting flashes of when it's happened to me. And it is hurtful and it does make you feel really bad. And it is like you want to be accepted by people. And then when they just gather in a group and talk bad about you and then act like you're a friend to your face, but then they're talking smack behind your back, then, and that's pretty chicken shit, honestly, like be real. If you don't like somebody, then be honest. And if you like them and you're joining in a crowd to be accepted, then you've got issues. And that's what I told this person. I said, well, when people are judgmental and hateful, that's on them. That's where we get twisted. And we start feeling worse about ourselves and start building up guards to protect ourselves rather than just see that the source that is caused us to feel the way we feel is damaged themselves. They have got issues. It's so crazy how we let people who are have got issues create issues in us. It's like it's part of this system. It's part of how this works here. But it is where we have to take notice. That's where we start becoming stronger in our sense of self, where we don't let all of these different things bend us out of joint and take us down. It seems like it's a part of the challenge of existing in this realm. And so, and everything in this realm is, it's just like it's learning, but it's like all these obstacles are there for you to like gain momentum, to become better, to grow. They're not here to destroy you. And that is where so many people feel like things are here to destroy them. But really it's here to help you. Like I see it as like a track star. And yesterday I just saw this track star in a video. And so that may be why I'm seeing it is this now. This is because when I saw her, and she was the fastest, I don't know if she set a new record or something, but it was, when I saw her, it was making me think about the track of all the obstacles and how that relates to confirmation, how that relates to life, and that we are here like to build this momentum to in this race of, but it's not a competitive race. It is it's like you're racing yourself. You're trying to beat your own time, become the best at what you are the best at, which is that's funny because yesterday I was talking about that with some people become like experts at things, but not everybody is. Like I can do a lot of things, but I'm not expert at anything, I don't think. But but there's people who just focus all their energies. I think it's not all just one thing. Nothing is ever just all one thing. There's lots of things. And but we have to let go of this sense of competitiveness in life, because that is definitely a distraction. It is only you trying to become your best self. So we see it as like the little thing and the person running and then their time, and then they do it again and they beat their own time. So it's more of you, and then the obstacles like on the track are for you to, it's like a track star who can run and do those and jump those, just like, fuck man, it looks like like a gazelle or something. It looks like so natural. So it just becomes like, and when they very first start, it's definitely not knocking them over or falling. But when they master it, they just can run and just leap over these obstacles and just keep going and going. And that's what we are, in a sense, doing, is we are learning how to leap over obstacles, not stumble, not fall. But when you stumble and you fall, that is a part of what, your process. And it is, it is like people do give up on becoming the experts in the game of life, and they succumb to the pain of life. And we're in a sense of a lot of that in the world right now, because of all the addiction and stuff. It's not even just alcohol and drugs. It's also there's lots of things that people use, but it is also a push on the pharmaceutical, because that people don't realize like how much that interferes. I bet you there is something that they do with that stuff that is purposely to disconnect your body from a natural process, disconnect you from your soul. There's something, but so when you think about how that's just the biggest acceptable thing in our society, you know? Everybody's on prescriptions and stuff like that. But so it's not just like street drugs and alcohol and stuff. But people succumb. But they make it like the authority figures make it like it is an acceptable way to get through life, when really it's holding you back, because you need to go through that process. So when you fall, like when you think of it being this obstacle race thing, in your very first going, and you're knocking them over and you're falling and you keep getting hurt and you don't want to get up and it's too hard. And that's, when things happen in life and they, you fall and you're down and you don't want to get up. You gotta respect that in yourself. You gotta go through that process. You don't put it's like you push yourself at a certain point to not stay down. Otherwise, if you just let yourself stay down, it's harder and harder to get up. So you have to push yourself to find your way back. But that is also a part of like tuning into yourself, like being down, going through it, and then building yourself back each little time. But the thing is you don't want to give up. And that's one thing in this world that they've made it kind of like, it's okay to give up. It's okay. But really, you don't want to give up. It's like succumbing. And so each little thing is building you up for the bigger thing and a bigger thing and a bigger thing. And you get better and better and better, And as you continue to go, less things knock you down. And then pretty soon, it's like this natural ability of just this gliding and just, it's very, what is altruistic? I don't know what altruistic is. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's very seamless. It's very much like you perfecting yourself of being able, but it's like a gazelle or something. And oh yeah, because there is like when you see the deers, and there's a problem with putting a barbed wire because the deers hit into it because they can't see it or something. But when you watch the deers go and stuff, they are just constantly going over. They have to like run and jump, and they're like, I don't know, it's almost like flying a little, then taking some steps, flying a little, taking some steps. And so it is, where we need to get more, not so weighted down by the world, not so weighted down by the problems. When you start out small and you keep going towards what your goals are of healing and working on yourself and letting go of things, it's crazy because so many people are so burdened. They're so burdened by things and they weight them down. That's why when you heal and stuff, you start feeling lighter. I think that is I really think that is like the sense of vibration of the heaviness when you're holding on to things, because you do feel weighted down. As you let go of things, you start feeling like more buoyant, more lighter, more like I can fly. It does feel better. And so, but it is, it's so like heavy of energy on the planet, and it is shown through so many different people. And man, this morning my algorithm was like every video was talking about everybody's waking up, the moon, the fire horse, one of my comments first thing this morning on some video was like, well, it's the end. It's the end. I said, well, endings bring beginnings, because that's the thing is people don't want to see. Like, you really think things just end and then nothing, like the yin to the yang is, it narrows, it ends, and then it starts something new. That's the procession of life. It is the cycles of life. Is we're just at the ending of a cycle, but we're starting a new cycle, and it's it must be a scary thing for some people to be feeling so trapped in that sense of end. It's dismal. It's the ending. Even when people die, they don't really die. I watched a couple movies yesterday, and because I'm hibernating. That's what I'm doing. I need it to be warmer. I need the sun. I watched this one, and I almost turned it off because it was this girl, and it was in Deep South, and she was talking to her neighbor, and she lived in. It's funny because most of us would call these places like plantations, but it's called something else. Elaine, I don't know. It was called something else, and it was an old lady, and when she died, she left her this house, and so and she left her relative the stuff inside, so that relative just sold everything, and the other lady moved in, and she found this box upstairs, and it had a diary from the 1800s, and it was a woman who used to live there. And so when it started, it was kind of weird too. I thought this is so trippy because when she started writing about her in her diary, and she was like, these are, what did she say? Did she say dismal, hard times? These are times of uncertainty. And and this was like 1867 or something. So, and I was like, oh, that's so weird because no matter what, that's how people feel. Always in their time is like we look at the things that are wrong and being like, this is uncertain times. Like, because I know people feel like right now this is uncertain times, and so then it ended up being about was plantation life, and it was the guy who had this one was he was a jerk. He was such a jerk. But I think it was so common back then, this patriarchy freaking mindset. Like women have no reason to even speak. And he was just like, oh my gosh. And how mean they were to the black people. And it was a cotton farm too. So I almost turned it off at that point to be just like, okay, I don't want to just have these things pushed on me like this. And it does piss you off when you see this stuff. And so but then something, and then I can't remember what it was. So I thought, okay, I'll keep watching and see what happens. And so it was lots of sad stuff, lots of hard times, lots of early death. And the girl, the one who's writing the diary, she came from a different place. And so she must come from the north. And so she had a dark-skinned person who was like, they grew up together. And so she was like her helper or something. They were like friends though. And so then when she came down here to the south, she was expected to sleep out in the servants' quarters. She wasn't even allowed in the house. And the woman was really upset and asking the husband, and he's like, shut up, woman. You don't get to talk. It's like, God damn. I'd be like, come on, let's go. But the women were sold to these men. So, and it was also about heirs. And they only wanted boys. And the one, when he had one, and he thought that the skin was too dark, because the woman was a quarter Cherokee or something. And when the baby was born, you know, she's thinking, well, you know, it looks like grandpa to her. But this man, he was like, had his right hand guy who was the abuser, the whipper, and all that stuff. He had him just take the I'm sure they just took him out to the lake and drowned on him, because that's what it seemed to be a common thing. If there was something with babies, it's just like throw them in the lake. So that's not just in this. This is other things I've seen too, and which is, I think in Utah, is a big lake where it was used, where the tribes would throw all these babies in. But the I saw somebody else talking about that lake yesterday. The Salt Lake is drying up, and he said that in the next 10 to 20 years, but I don't know if it's going to be that long, because we are at this time of change, and this is the way things are speeding up and stuff. Things are gonna happen faster. Like, I think that it is. I don't think it's a positive thing to think like, oh well, this earthquake is not going to happen for 10 more years, this Salt Lake isn't going to dry up for 10 more years or whatever. And last night, no, yesterday morning, there was a big earthquake in Mexico. It was like a 7. So I don't know which town. Last night though, there was a big fire in a town outside of Denver, a huge apartment, and there was people who were filming it. It was like spreading so fast, and it was in a neighborhood too. But the apartment was just, man, it was, God, it looked like it had something poured on it to create, and you know, to go faster. It was insane. And so anyways, I'm skipping around, let me see. So so yeah, there's more earthquakes going, and volcano, all that stuff is going. So, and this is the thing you got to put into perspective, is we're in an ending. We're in an ending of a cycle, and we're going into a beginning. And a beginning is going to be, it will be more remnants of history. It would be more remnants of the past. We're not going to just, you know, we're not going to be just like in the same situations. Things are changing. And so the landscape's going to change. Cities and towns are going to change. People's attitudes are going to change. Everything is going to change. And that's the crazy thing, is we're here for this change. We're here. We came here for this. And I just saw this one spiritual person saying, like, you didn't come here for this. I swear to God, I don't know where some of these people come up with some of this stuff. You came here for this. And so you came here for this change, and it is up to you, like I said, to learn how to overcome the obstacles and to pick up steam as you go, you know, to do your best, you know, trying to do your best and getting better and better and better. Even if you get over here and you knock down, is like, well, when you think of it as the race, well, you've learned to go faster and jump, you've got more momentum. Because in life, in the micro macro sense of experiences, that each lesson can become harder and more difficult to overcome, because you can't go into the hardest lessons. You have to first start out going through the easier ones. So you go through the easier ones to get to the more difficult ones. So it builds. Just as you build your stamina, you build your abilities, you and get better and better. So even when you have been healing for a long time and then you hit into something hard, and you're just like, what? How can this be? But it's because you can't heal things that are harder until you have built up to the point of being able to face it. So it is part of the struggle of life or whatever, but it is you know, it's becoming your best, the best of you, bringing the best of you, you know, like your personal best. That's what it is. It's your personal best. And so so when I heard that guy say 10 or 20 years, I was thinking, I can't imagine like we're going to be all sitting around, in a world of abundance, heaven on earth, and then all of a sudden the stuff's going to blow. Like, wouldn't that be like the old world? How are we going to be in a new world and the old world is going to come sneaking in on us? It's like, I think this stuff is going to be blowing and ending before we get to the new one. It's not like we're going to be like, we're in our age of Aquarius is not fucking 50 years from now. It's coming in hot. And so when you think about like where people sit there and say, oh, that's not going to happen for a long time. It's like, I don't know about that. I can't imagine, being in a world of heaven on earth and we're all happy and we've got fucking shit blowing. No, I think it's going to be blowing and then it's going to settle and we're going to start rebuilding into a new world. And it's going to look different. I think the sky's going to look different. The landscape's going to look different. Our attitudes are going to look different. It's going to be a different world. But this one is ending and we are at the ending. And you think about the energy that certain places hold. And like I was saying, Utah is, there's a lot of bad energy there. And so it makes sense for it's going to blow because it's these energies can't go into the new world. See right there, how would this toxic stuff they're percolating and then the new world starts all about love and stuff and all of a sudden then it's going to start coming. Oh, this is the stuff that brings us to the new world. It's not that we're going to have it be like way ahead. So when you consider those things, then you got to be thinking like, fuck, man, we're walking on hot coals at this point. Like anything can go at any moment. And it is going. We just can't see underneath us how things are hitting, but there is a whole thing happening underneath us with the tectonic plates and the unstable, the destabilization of the old world. And where was that? It was Cincinnati, maybe, over by someplace. There's a whole bunch of weird noises again, and then somebody was showing, I think they were showing Australia, all these weird flashes of light in the sky where they were saying, oh, it's the battle. And it's funny because I was like, man, is this from 2020? Because I used to see those all the time. They're still having this. I don't know. But these really weird, loud noises and stuff going on. And so there is, things happening that are changing things, and a lot is happening underneath us, and these shifts that are happening, and it is like confirmation. It is like the more that you can learn how to ride this unstable world, the more you can find your peace in an unstable world, the more that prepares you for the new world. Because it's like the people who fall apart, who can't handle all of this stuff, it's like they're not ready. It's that is everything is pushing people to ready, but when people aren't ready, they aren't ready. And that's where, your vibration will take you where it is you need to go. And that's going to be what leads everybody where they need to go, is their vibration. And I can just tell you, things to do to work on yourself and heal your vibration to bring it up. But with people who aren't motivated in that direction, it's because they're not there for that. But there's also going to be these events that are going to happen that's going to wake people up to be more considerate of themselves and to be more craving to go in a different direction. So there's going to be more people that are going to suddenly go in the other direction. And so right now it can seem like, oh, there's a lot of people who aren't awake, who are not ready for this new world. But there's going to be all of these situations that are going to continue to occur that is going to be getting people to shift. But one of the things I saw where all these people were talking was that tons of people are now feeling like, what does it all mean? What am I doing here? Why am I here? What is going on? And that is a big part of the awakening. And so that is, and it's happening with tons and tons of people now. And tons of people are like, well, why am I going to work? What am I doing this for? And that's always kind of a thing, but that people are saying this is like happening tons. And I don't know if they're saying because of this new moon or what it is. I don't know, because I mean, I've been hearing this, but it's going to, that's the thing, is it's going to keep being things happening and getting people to go in different direction and to start healing their soul, healing their past. And so the that is true, but but yeah, like right now it kind of reminds me of the same numbers with where 0.05% of the people have silver. It seems like, I bet you that it's like low numbers like that of how many people are really awake and have been doing the work on themselves and and understand what's happening in the world. I think so many people, I mean, you got so many people are just, Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. It's the end and blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, there's tons and tons of people who are, I don't know if you want to call it misled or not understanding what's going on. So I think it is a lot less numbers of people who do, but it's going to keep shifting in more numbers. Which yesterday I was even thinking I could go and just buy some more. So, I mean, if you haven't bought any, if you can get some, because I got an email from one of the places where I have bought it from, and they said, you could buy some. I went in and looked at the thing, and it was $79 an ounce. And I thought, well, I could buy some more, because it is going to go way up. It's not like, I mean, it's going to go way up from there. Even 79 is not bad for where, like, when you think of the comparison, 79 an ounce compared to like 10,000 an ounce, but you're going to have to hold it for a while. But there's a lot of people saying it's going to go to, the projection is it's going to go to several hundred really quick, and then it'll go to several thousand really quick. But that's where you still want to hold out, because it's going to go up higher. Because what projection I had heard, like I've said a million times, is more like 10K. And it is because a lot of the new technologies that we have no awareness of at this point, that is that there's patents on them and stuff. So this isn't just like, well, maybe there's patents that where is a part of the NG program that we're going into, is the release of, I think it's like 6,000 patents that they tried to hide from us. And, but there's a lot of that stuff that needs that metal. And so it's going to drive the price up even more. And there would probably be a lot more mining of that, or they'll be trying to figure out other things. But anyways, that's when the price is going to really start going up, is when those patents and stuff start coming out. And so that's where, when you're doing an investment, part of it is like, you got to know when to go, when to, you got to ride it out sometimes. Like, don't just jump on the first, in the first big blow, and know what's, it's going to keep going. But anyways, I mean, you got to do your own research. You got to figure it out for yourself. Don't just be like, well, I did what you said, now I'm flogged. It's like, it'd be like the same thing too. As even if it goes up and say it goes to 5,000, because it's supposed to go equal up with gold, and gold may go up more too. Well, I mean, I don't know what all these patents are. I just heard that there's there's some kind of a silver thread that is needed. And but it will still stabilize at some point, that it will be up there like a 5,000, 6,000 or something like that. So it's going to keep growing and go up. But then I think it's going to take another leap and go up higher because of how much is needed for the technology, and that there isn't, they don't have very much. And that's why I was like looking at the thing and I was like, well, I could get some more. It's not like, I mean, you can buy like 10 ounces, like $800. But but the set up at the top, because of the because there's a problem with it. It could take longer to get. So I don't know. That's the thing, is that there's a shortage right now. So it's like you're trying to get it in kind of an unstable thing. Probably the best thing is to go down to like your local coins places and go into those and try and get pure silver if you are wanting to invest in it still, because you still can. You still can, and it's still going to go way up. And so, anyways, but there is ones that you can go and order it. I just don't know how long it will take to get. I don't know if there's going to be, I don't know the crisis they got going on, because they do have some kind of big crazy thing going on with it. And where, like in one place it's 130 an ounce, Japan 130 an ounce, China 100 an ounce, here it's 79 an ounce. But it's all going to go into the same. It's going to become it's, I think the asset back of the X and the R and the P is GOLD. But but there's going to be I don't know if it's going to be the necessity for all of the technology is what is going to be driving the price of it. I'm not sure. We'll just have to watch how this market fluctuates or turns or whatever. But now we're on, what is this, Saturday now? So now we're on the weekend. So now we'll see what comes of stuff next week. I guess Donald put out on Truth Social that they have captured the leader of Venezuela and his wife, which who knows what all some of these people are involved in. So we'll see what plays out with that. And the gold and the silver and the market. But anyway, but you can still, get on board with trying to get some and seeing, don't feel like because you haven't got any yet that now you're screwed. No, it's going to keep going up. It's going to keep going up. So don't feel like that. Like if you've got any money, you may as well get some. And, but okay, so we have, everybody's real jumped on board right now with the awakening and this new moon and the new year starting, which the what is that called? The metal horse? Or was it? No, fire. Yeah, the metal was the ox. That's what I was born in, the ox, metal ox. But the fire horse actually starts in a couple weeks. And then also in the Chinese numerology thing, that this is a year 10, which I heard a girl explaining about the year 10, and because a lot of people are saying it's the year 1 and stuff, but it seems to me that it's the year of changing from the 10 to the 1. It's the ending and the beginning. And so I just think, this year is going to be a buckle up. But the big focus, because there's going to be a lot of things falling apart. There's going to be a lot of things happening, but your focus needs to continue to come back to self. And how things affect you are the gift from the universe so that you can heal your wounds and continue to raise your vibration, letting go of the heaviness that burdens you. And when there's things happening around you that are really heavy and downer, then that is the things you want to release, because that is what holds you back. It holds you in just that whole idea of it feeling heavy and dark and stuff. And you want to just keep letting those things go and moving more forward. and the only way forward is in through you. And so that, you know, has to be Max. He got the primo spot right here. He's like, he got it early too. He's like, I'm gonna line up before everybody else and get the spot. So he's like right next to me. I was watching, or I got a couple of videos this morning about American bullies, and they were pretty funny, but I guess it is part of their personality too, is this, oh my God, she is like Velcro. She is on me all the time. And she is big and heavy and muscular, and she just jumps right on you and jumps up on you, and she wants to be very loving. Like, she's very loving. Like, love, 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 love. But she is, and she's sweet as hell, but she just is all consuming. Like, oh my God. And it's, I think the thing that is the roughest is we're in a small space, and it's the hibernation time. We're in our little cave, but two puppies. And then I've got Miss, you know, Weiner over there. So it just can be intense. And then I don't even know what's going with him. But I've been doing the diatomaceous earth, and also giving him yeast stuff, because a couple of them seem to be having allergies. And so I'm trying the yeast stuff. And but he hasn't puked in a few days. And the diatomaceous earth, I'm hoping, is helping with that and the yeast stuff. So anyways, I'm doing all of them, getting that. But the two puppies, because even though Archie is like 2 years old, he still is super puppyish with even though he does stand up to her a lot, like he does get fed up with her. But she is she just wants she just is relentless. She wants somebody to play, and she's always got her little tail wagging, and she wants to play. She wants something to play with. She wants attention all the time. And so anyways, but I saw those videos, and I was like, it kind of made me feel bad that I keep getting mad at her, that she's on me all the time. It's like, could you back up? Could you give me a little space? Can I have some space of my own? And then when it becomes a competition, and then they all have to see who can get the closest. Oh my God, I'm always blowing my stack on that. It's like, fuck. They get me on like this little edge, like Miss over there will start whining if I don't come and sit with her. As soon as I sit with her, then she's got to get right on top of me. She's got to put her head on me, and it weighs 50 pounds by itself, I swear to God. And then then it's a competition. And what I keep telling them all now is like, I'm not furniture. I'm not furniture. I'm a person. Like, you cannot just come and everybody sit on top of me. It's like, oh my God. And then cram me over in the littlest space in the bed. And last night, when they wanted to go out, that's how I saw it was so foggy. We both look up. And so I opened the doors, saw all foggy, and they went out to go pee, Stella and Ruthie. And then and I'd be up, and I didn't want to be up. I'm standing there, you know, taking care of them with the door and stuff. Then they just come over and get in my space. I was like, oh my God. I was below my stack on that. Like, oh my God, this is my space, you guys. And so they both got up and they went each into their own bed. So then I had the whole bed to myself again. Then I went back into this crazy dream. No matter if I got up, woke up, or anything, it was just right back into this weird dream. And even when by my awareness, I'd be like, well, I don't know that I want to go back in that dream. Where would I go? Back into that dream. It's so weird. The dream world is weird. Is a weird place. So anyways, but it kind of, you know, processing through, like, kind of feeling guilty, kind of like, oh, she just wants to be next to me and be loved. And I'm always like, get off of me, get off of me. Like, God, I probably was like that as a mom too. You're overwhelming me. I can't handle it. But, you know, I mean, there's a part of your personality, a part of you that you also have to accept. And if you don't like it and you don't want to be that way, then it's up to you to figure out how to change, how to be different, how to be better. But it's not for you to hate yourself and shame yourself and belittle yourself. And I think that is just such a common practice, that people are so mean to themselves. I think people are meaner to themselves than they are to other people. I think even people who seem to be super mean, I think they're probably meaner to themselves. And so it is, really healthy practice is learning to just accept yourself. And, that's why I'm always saying about learning how to love yourself is, letting go of stuff, letting go of, hating yourself and thinking you're the worst person and you're not good enough. And, because it is a heavy burden to carry, it's like, yeah, it is like being uh, trapped in your vehicle and then hating the ride. It's like, um, you gotta learn how to accept it, accept you, accept yourself. Oh, yeah, that makes sense of like why that is. Then you become the character you're going to continue for, whatever, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, however long you're going to carry this character is that because you have to learn to love yourself in order to appreciate the character. So you have to, appreciate the character to elevate the character and keep them going. Otherwise, you don't want to. So that is a big part of this whole, yeah, celebration to self. This whole ascension to you is that this learning how to accept yourself in being mean to yourself and beating yourself down all the time isn't productive. But then also there's like an awareness, but see, like I can be aware of myself of being like, oh, I don't want to be so what will I do today? I'm not going to sit and cry and feel sorry for myself and think I'm a horrible bitch. And, I'm just going to practice being better, being more patient, and not feeling like I'm being consumed when they're taking up all my space. Like I'm just gonna, practice on keeping centered and stuff. Whatever it is that comes up, I'm just gonna practice. And that's the thing is like there's not an expectation of you being perfect, but it is it's you redefining yourself in a lot of cases, but it's not you beating yourself down into a bloody pulp and leaving you on the side of the road. It's like you got to be nice to yourself. You got to appreciate yourself. And then the things that you've gone through, like you've gone through things. This the creation of you is how you are created, is the things you've gone through, and that is your code. That is what writes your code. So that is who you are. It is what you are. And so that's why you don't want to be harsh on yourself. And that's why if you are, that will keep you spinning into more lessons, because you have to go in and go through more things, because it is all about learning to accept yourself. And so anyways, but that's what is part of the whole thing. But on this movie too, so the one movie with the slavery movie thing, and it kept bouncing from the past to the future and stuff, but there was some lines in that movie where were so good. I was like, gosh dang. There was a lot of lines that were just really, really good. But then there was some stuff where I was like, I don't know, it's part of the agenda, the narrative, of what they try and push. And but it did have a lot of good things in the story. So anyways, it was a cute little love story thing. But because there was two storylines going. And so just say all this stuff, but the next movie I watched that was it was really good. Even though I don't think it was like super high budget or whatever, but it had it's Tommy Lee Jones's, I think is his name, Tommy Lee Jones. Is his daughter's the one that's died, and I guess she died in a hotel and weird circumstances. I don't know. It's in all, I keep seeing tons of stuff about it. So should be easy to find anything about it if you're interested. But lots of people are just like, what is going on? Well, all these people are dying. There's going to be a lot of death. There's going to be a lot of people leaving at this time, because it is a time that is very different than what we understand. And so in this movie was, at first I think you weren't supposed to realize, but to me, I realized it really quick that the guy who was walking around talking was dead, and that he thought he was being ignored, but he was being ignored because nobody could hear him. And but he was stuck in his old life still, because he didn't know what happened because it was a traumatic situation. It was an instant kind of thing, and he didn't know what happened. And so he was, and he was a cop. And so he was out there, which, yeah, that's weird. Because yesterday my brother told me that, and this was before, I think it was before I watched the movie. Because he was talking about one of his friends who was a cop, a sheriff in LA. And he went into Jack in the Box. He just went into a Jack in the Box to order some food, and he was off duty. And some guy got out of the car and was walking really fast up behind him, and the guy who was going to take his order said, "Hey, is that guy with you?" And right when he did that, and the guy turned, the guy blasted him and killed him, just like boom. And so, but the guy who worked there could say, what happened, and they got the guy right away, and it was just, I'm just gonna go take out a stranger for no reason. And so he wasn't even from the area or anything. He just came there, just decided you're the one. But that's the transits. That's the, nothing happens that's not meant to happen. But anyways, in this movie, it was a cop, and and it was a quick thing like that. And he was confused. He didn't know he was dead. And he was at this case, they found a body. And he didn't know whose it was either. And so he sees this young girl over there watching or something. So he goes over to question her. And when he was questioning her, she had already figured out that she was dead. And so there was a lot of really cool stuff in this because he didn't know yet. And and this is what I have been saying. I have said this so many times. So when she died, she went straight to her family, and she was just hanging out with her family. Her family couldn't see her or anything, but she just wanted to be there with them in their grief because they were so sad, and she felt so bad for how sad they were. And so she just wanted to be there, and she was feeling, like feeling their pain and stuff. And I've said that so many times. The people, when they pass, they come right there, they're with you. And so she but she didn't know what had happened to her either, and they hadn't found her body yet. And so she felt really bad because her parents kept having hope, but she knew, that she was gone because she was already had the experience that nobody could hear her, and she figured it out. And so he starts showing up to question her, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to have to take you down the station." And she's like, "Okay, so how are we going?" And he goes, "Well, we'll go in my car." And she goes, "What car?" And he's like, "Well, the one I drove." And she's like, "You didn't drive a car. Do you remember how you got here?" And when you're dead, you just are where you want to be. And that's when in the soul world, you just are where you want to be. You don't have to travel. And that is a part of the density of this world, where I say, they control our travel, they control our movements and stuff. But in a higher density, then you don't. You want to be there, you're just there. Where am I? Because right away, she always is like a timer, I swear to God. And I told her this morning too, I may make a big breakfast. So I'm going to make a breakfast this morning. But so she wanted me to start making it right after she already ate. It's like, no, after I do my work, we'll have it. And so, and she is just, she keeps having it. I swear to God, I just keep trying to, I just really hope that we are really close to these medbed situations. Which I saw a woman who has the oldest French bulldog that is known to be around. It's 19. And so people were like, what do you do? What do you do? And it was a lot of the same stuff I do. She said she feeds them regular food, and that and then she'll sprinkle some kibble on the top. That's what I do. And then she uses CBD because he used to have like a hiccup in his giddy up, and she said that she uses CBD, and she gives him different things. Like it sounded like the same stuff. And so anyways, I feel like my daughter's always telling me one of the things with Stella is that she's just a drama queen. So She's just a dog. I gotta keep telling myself that because every time when she does that, I'm always like, oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? So here she comes, my big baby. But what was I gonna say? The 19-year-old French Bulldog, which is long for French Bulldogs. They have a lot of problems. The food. Oh, because I saw this video yesterday, and this almost made me comment in a negative way. And then I had to realign myself and be like, no, I cannot stand it when people do that to me. It's like, move on. Just move on. And so she had this whole video, and I don't know if she was a VET. I don't know what her deal was. But she was saying how bad it is that people feed their dogs regular food, that they're not getting any nutrition, and that they really need to feed them just kibble. I was like, what in the psychopath are you fucking talking about, chick? And she's being it all authoritative about it. And in which, there's a lot of kibble that is, I mean, go watch videos of how it's made. They take cardboard. And I used to say that to people. I would say kibble is cardboard. And people, that's crazy. Go watch the video of how it's made, which I didn't know that when I was saying it. But now I've seen it. It's like, oh, yeah, it is too. What do you think they're fucking doing with all this cardboard when they're recycling it? They're mushing it down. They're getting it wet, mushing it down, and then cooking it, and then turning it into fucking kibble. But those women's going off and all on it. We're not giving in regular food. They're not getting enough nutrition. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so anyways, but when you get a kibble, and the kibble I got, because I used to have this one that was really expensive. I mean, any of the ones that you get that are decent, but even like Purina and stuff can charge a lot, and it's not better. But the one I had before was Life's Abundance. And then Stella, all of a sudden, she started having tons and tons of breakout on her. And I was like, something in this food, she's allergic to or something. But she was taking it for a while. It was really expensive. And it was the same thing. I wasn't just feeding her just kibble. I would feed her regular food and then just give her a little bit of the kibble. But I have the kibble now, especially because if shit goes down and they need food and there's no way for them to eat, they got to have something. So I did get stocked up with an extra bag, but then I stopped. I was like, I'm not giving any kibble. And then I got these rescues, and so they were only having regular food too. And then, because Stella's having the breakout and me being suspicious of kibble anyways. And so then when we were at my mom's and her kibble was downstairs, and I think probably maybe that was Archie's diet or something, because he would go wild. He acts like, getting kibble is the best thing in the whole wide world. He's so excited. And so they would get so excited about her food, and they always wanted some of it. And so then I decided to get the one that she has. And I don't know, because I'm so untrusting of the stuff, but they seem to love this one. And it's I can't remember what it's called, but it says like chicken's the first ingredient. It's got vitamins and stuff like that. But still, and I give, like a quarter of a cup or something, half a cup into Ruthie. Because she has two dishes of food. She has a regular food, and then she has one of those slow your roll down food because she's a vacuum. And so I put her some of that kibble in there, and then just in case too, because she's a puppy and she's growing, and if there is any vitamins or anything that is missing, it's in there. And I have been also adding more meat, but I think that they need way more meat. And I've been taking this. I started doing the beef liver pills or whatever, because I was seeing positive things about them. I was like, well, I've got these pills, I may as well take them. So, and then I was like, and the dogs, as soon as I open it, they're like, oh, where's that? What's that? Which, even if I put the beef tallow stuff on my face, which I'm not doing it anymore, is, I was like, fucking Ruthie's gonna eat my face off. Oh my God, no way. So, but they get crazy over that beef or liver stuff too. And so now I'm like Man, I wonder if I should get them a bottle of that and just put that into their food. And so I don't know. It's still, an animal has to die for that, and that's the thing. Confirmation is that we are going into this time where I feel like things are gonna be changing. We're not gonna be killing things. It's gonna be about love, and things are gonna be different. We're gonna be killing things to eat them. So, and even if there's a process to get to where we stop doing that, something's going to happen. It's going to be just each individual just wakes up and starts being like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And we start really having more compassion, and that's what stops it. I'm not sure. I just know it's going to change. And so, but I was thinking, man, maybe I should get them some of these liver pill things and put that in their diet. I bet you that would really be good for them. So, and I've gotten liver before because I've seen where it's supposed to be, dogs are supposed to eat a lot of organ meat. And then they're supposed to eat like 75% of their diet is supposed to be meat. Which, to me, though, a domesticated dog, I mean, we all know, they'll eat garbage. They'll eat garbage. They'll eat the stuffing out of toys. They'll eat all sorts of stuff. So, so I would think that their body is mechanically, it's kind of like the same thing as like when you have a baby, like a toddler, and they're not eating very much, and you start panicking. You go to the doctor, and they say, oh, they only need like 2 teaspoons of food a day to get all their nutrition. They're fine. And then I think it's like kind of the same with dogs that they get. Like I think the whole thing, the whole concept of how much we need to be eating and stuff all the time, and so it's all consumer driven. It's all corporate driven, telling us, you need to eat this, you need to eat 3 meals, you need to eat snacks, you need to eat all this stuff. So I think that there's also, BS behind the dog stuff, and so. I don't know how much stuff that they really need, but I know in this new world, it's not going to be like, because if the like all these animals that are just being thrown out. The other day I was driving down the road, and this old golden retriever, it just reminded me of Winston, was standing out on the side of the road. And so I like stopped and I looked and I was like, where do you live? Are you just stranded? And so I turn around and I start to come back up and pull up next to him, and he's totally dirty. And he takes off running and goes back, and then he's with another dog. And so they're doing something. And then I was like, well, is this a driveway? Is there a house way down there? And so I was like, well, maybe these are some of these dogs, but they don't feel like don't want to be picked up. They don't want to be caught. But the thing is there's so many dogs out there, and they're not just they're, like, I think it takes a while to become like coyotes and wolves and stuff. Most of these domesticated dogs, they live off of like garbage and remnants or something. They're not running out and killing things to eat them. And so not like wolves and coyotes and stuff. Domesticated dogs aren't doing that. And so, and then, a lot of people are finding them and they're super, super skinny. But, I mean, there could be days, and especially it depends on where, they are. And then, but anyways, this whole thing with nutrition and stuff like that. And I feel like our bodies are kind of prepared for what it is we're here to experience. And so, anyways, I just don't know. Like even if things are supposed to change, then it's like our needs will be changing. And so I don't know. The whole thing with them needing so much meat and so much of that, but then also being in this time where it's like, well, we're going into this new world, and if you want them to be going with you, it seems like to me, you can't just be like killing all these things for them to eat or something. I think we're not going to be in a world that is very predatory. It's not going to be a dog eat dog world anymore. It's going to be very much a place of peace and love and compassion and connection. Which another thing I had seen too is people are talking about the comeback of rock and roll music, which I had said years ago we're gonna see a comeback on the live music, and so that is coming back. Because for a while it was like all this DJ, this techno, all that kind of stuff. But it's flipping. So many people, all these young girls and stuff, are trying to relive the 70s and 80s, which this is something I think is so cool. I really want to go to one of these. It's this trend. It's something that I don't know how many people are doing it, but there's one especially I've seen. I think her name is Sarah Klein, and she's started, but these balls, like they're having balls and people are getting dressed up in ball gowns, and they're having a whole, like, the whole thing. It's like the whole fucking thing. And so there was a release yesterday on the calendar, and they're all over the place. Like they're in the UK, in Scotland, in all, it seems so much over on the East Coast. Over here, it was like there was some in California, some in Arizona, but nothing in the Pacific Northwest. And I wasn't the only one also saying, why isn't there any by Oregon, Idaho, or Washington? What's the problem? Why aren't you coming here? And but I really want to go. Oh my gosh, I really want to go to a ball, have fun, and get all dressed up and get your hair done and go to this fancy ball and go to the dance. And they're dressing like in old timey ball gowns and stuff. I mean, they're not everybody's going and getting old timey ball gowns, but some people are really putting in and getting these really cool ass dresses, headdress, like all sorts of stuff. And then some of them have themes. Like there's even, this is where I've said that it's not just one, because there's other people who are doing them too. Because there's like a gothic one, and then there's like the vampire one. There's like all sorts of different ones. And I was like, oh my God, what a cool trend. As I'm totally into dancing and stuff, but getting dressed up and going in and being in this other kind of reality there for a while. I was like, I love going and experiencing things and having experiences. I thought, oh my God, that'd be so cool. But anyways, but in this movie where they were dead, then it was all these different things that I had said, that they stuck around. They were trying to figure out what had happened to them. They couldn't remember, and they were confused. And then they started trying to figure out, like, well, why are we around each other? And why are we're supposed to be figuring something out. And then it was tragic deaths. And my ear just kind of popped. It just still is so stopped up. But once that they had figured out what their purpose, why they, once they had let go of what it was that was binding them, then the light came, and then they went into the light. But those were all things that I have been saying about death. So that is, there's other people who see it that way too, or get that information or whatever. So anyways, but when somebody does pass, they do come and stay right with you, and then they are confused because you feel exactly the same. If you're outside of your body, you do not feel different. You feel exactly the same. And then what holds you is trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Why am I here? It's like this whole thing of trying to figure it out. And I think that's the difference also with the people who have slow deaths. They know what's coming. They're prepared. Even when they're dying for, I think, a couple weeks, they've got visitors coming. People have already passed. Like if you're around somebody who is sick and dying or whatever, they'll start talking to people who aren't there. They'll start, when they come awake, they'll talk about people like who have already passed and stuff. So they're already having visitors and stuff. So they're not so confused when they come out of their body. They just are like, go. But people who have this quick, like unexpected, like I didn't see it coming, then or ones that um cause a lot of pain. Like I think ones that, do themselves in and stuff, once they come out, then they're like, oh, look at all the pain I created, and the suffering. And so then they want to go around and mend it. And so, but people are still like, when they go, they're still around you. And that was one thing too, is she started trying to communicate with her mom, and she did it first by accident because she was really upset and she screamed out, but her mom could hear her. And so then she started talking to her mom, and her mom started writing down what she was saying, and she was giving information about what happened to her and her death, so it helped solve the crime. And so and then the other one, the guy who was the actual killer, he so it came to him like a haunting when the guy started communicating with him. So it's kind of like your own perspective of how you perceive the apparition, the spirit, the person who's passed. And so if you look at it as they're haunting you, or if you look at it as they are communicating with you. And then, but we do live in a world where a lot of people don't understand, that when you're a spirit, you come out and you go back into your spirit, that this is like, these avatars are like holograms. They're not real. But the storylines in our world, we're in these very elaborate storylines. So we have to take care of the people who leaves. We have ceremonies and stuff like that. So to us, it seems like the body is real, but it's not. It's just part of the storyline. It's what's real is left. But they also don't completely leave you, that you just can't see them because they're vibrating so much faster than what you can perceive. But they do try and communicate with you. And you are in a place of a lot of communication. But the whole thing is like slowing down and listening, and then starting to trusting yourself and the communication. And then you can, I think it gives you more peace, to know like, oh, they're not gone. They're even still near me. But, it still is a sad thing because, you want to hug them and be around them and stuff like that. But that's part of the process of what you come into experience is through loss, is the reevaluation of how you spend your time, how you behave. Everything is opportunities of these reevaluation. But that's again where you don't want to be hard on yourself and be mean and belittle yourself. Is it's just to look at yourself and constantly in this tweaking, like, I'm going to do better about that. I'm going to try a little harder on that. I'm going to, and just becoming your personal best. Everything is about that. And, but that's the creation of the new world, a world full of people who care, that have compassion, that want to do better, and aren't beating themselves down and being mad at the world. And so it is a new world, and we're going into this big breakthrough. And it is, I always find this whole horse thing and this fire thing interesting, and this 10 and 1, and there's a lot of interesting things I think about the Chinese zodiac and the all that stuff. So anyways, but we still, we are not in it yet, because they mess up how they structure the new year. So we're still in the time of we're still more in the time of what is it, like shedding, letting go. And then what is going to really pick up is when we take off. And it's just like us wanting, it's like a complete, it's like the difference of somebody, asking you for something, and then the difference of somebody demanding something. We're going to quit asking, and we're going to start demanding. We're going to start standing more confirmation. We're going to start standing more firm in what it is that we want, in the direction that we want to go as mankind. And but it's all the passion that drives us, the information is coming from the universe, it's coming from outside, it's bleeding into us, it's rippling through us to give us the direction that we're meant to go. So that's the connection in our souls, and there's way more people are going to become way more aware of that, and that things are going to really pick up steam. So things are going to, the thing is things are always going to get better. And yeah, there's going to be places that are going to blow. There's going to be places that are going to be ending. There's going to be a lot of that. But there's going to be beginnings too. It's like the same thing as like an old person dying and a new baby being born. And, grandpa died, but then you had a new baby being born. And then it gets even crazier is because grandpa could come right through and be the new baby. So the endings, we don't want to get too caught up in the concept of ending. We just got to get caught up in the letting go of what was and moving forward to what will be, what it is, what our hopes and dreams and our direction that we want to take ourselves. And that's, that's going to pick up steam. And I think that's what the year of the horse and the fire that we create in order to move in the direction that we wanted to move. So anyways, we'll see how things continue to play out. We'll see what happens today. I'm sure there will be more stuff. I think at this point they can't like miss a day of stuff happening. I think everything is just moving faster and going quicker, and we're going more towards the time of change, let's just say. So anyways, but you can't go wrong working on yourself. You can't go wrong learning how to love yourself. And in the process, you got to let go of a lot of stuff. And in that, when you're willing to give forgiveness to yourself is how you learn to give forgiveness to everybody else. So forgiving yourself helps you become somebody who can forgive others. So it starts with you, and then it bleeds out into the rest of the world. So always go with learning how to love yourself, then learn how to love everybody else, and then learning how to have the day you want to have. That's where we're going to take this world into a whole new place. So anyways, we'll see what happens today, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. Bye.